It is Monday, so as always, we are going to get right into these Week 6 rankings. Starting off strong right here with our number one team in the nation, Ohio State, this week. I think that win over Washington proved a ton to me. They are dominant. They are a dominant force among good teams. This is the second team that they have just dominated defensively. 24-6 on a very good Washington team. It is not to be scoffed at. Then number two, Miami. Miami still has one of the better resumes in all of college football. They've looked very talented this year. Next week, they have to play FSU. Let's hope they don't slip up in that game. Then we got Oregon at 3. That is a huge win at Penn State with wideout. That is the best win of probably anyone this year besides Alabama over Georgia, maybe. It's up there, though. And that was a huge win for Dante Moore. And the Ducks look very, very good this year. Then I've got A&M at number 4. That was a dominant win over Auburn, 16-10. They beat them defensively, which is huge for this team. Going into this game, I was worried if they were going to be able to keep up with the team defensively. Despite how bad Auburn has looked on offense, they still did very, very well against them. Auburn's defense is not to be cracked up about, and they got 16 on them. They got away with the win. That's huge for them. Then I've got Ole Miss at my number 5. I mean, they've got a pretty stinking good resume looking back at it. They've got Kentucky, Tulane, LSU, and Arkansas. I think all of those teams are pretty good, despite Arkansas losing so many games and firing Sam Pittman today. Then I moved my Sooners down to 6. Nothing to say about them. They're on a bye week. I'm not moving them down because John Mateer got hurt. I would never do that. I think that's silly. I just don't think that they have a better resume than A&M or Ole Miss anymore. Then Alabama is my number 7 team in the country right now. That is a huge win against Georgia at Georgia. I mean, that's just insane. It's a great win for this Alabama team. Ty Simpson looks like a Heisman candidate this year, and they are really rebounding from that loss to FSU. Number 8, I've got Georgia. That was a very close loss against Alabama, but they still have the win against Tennessee, and I think it would be an overreaction to place them any lower on this list. At number 9, I've got Penn State. They choked it away at home, but they still were within one score of a very good Oregon Ducks team, so we'll see how they continue out this year, see if they can rebound from this loss. Number 10, I've got Indiana. Indiana pulled out with a great win against Iowa at Iowa. You can say what you want. You can say Iowa's not a very good team. Escaping the Hawkeyes with a W will always be a good win. Texas Tech got demoted this week only because I think that Indiana deserved it a bit more over them in that 10 spot. Then I've got Tennessee at 12. They went to Starkville in what I think is going to be a pretty underrated win against a good Mississippi State squad this year. I think that's a good team to play against, and it's a good win. It's a hard place to play at. A win is a win. At number 13, I've got Iowa State. They have looked very, very good this year, despite having to go to Dublin to play Kansas State. They have yet to feel the wrath of the Ireland curse. LSU moves down to 14. Their wins don't quite look as good anymore with Clemson and Florida, and now they have a loss to Ole Miss. I don't think that that's a terrible loss, but they're going to have to rebound off this to get back up into that top 10 discussion. Mizzou and Vandy are kind of in the same boat. They have both played a common opponent in South Carolina. South Carolina just beat Kentucky. They move up a little bit. Teams fell. I still think these two teams are right on par with each other. Very good. Vandy has to go to Bama this week, so we'll see how that works out for them. Texas did not play this week. They still have that loss to Ohio State, who I now think is the number 1 team in the country. However, they have yet to show me a win against a Power 4 team. I still think they're very talented, so they're kind of hanging around in this teen spot right here until I can make something of them. Michigan was on bye, but sometimes that's the best thing that can ever happen to you because they are at my 18 spot. Georgia Tech pulls away in a win against Wake Forest, which is probably a trap game going to Wake Forest to play them. I discredit them a little bit because of that. I discredit them a little bit because their only good win is against Clemson now. But at least they got out with the win. I'm not going to penalize them too much. Florida State gets bumped all the way to 20 for me after losing to a Virginia team. It is hard for me to hear out these Florida State fans whenever it comes to this team because ultimately they lost to Georgia, who lost to NC State, who lost to Duke. There's this whole line of stuff that's going on, and it's just not good right now. That being said, this Florida State squad still is talented and still could give Miami their money's worth this weekend. At 21, we've got Mississippi State. Mississippi State looked very good against Tennessee, and they look like they are going to be a formidable opponent. In years past, they were just the place that you went, and it was a makeshift bye game for your SEC schedule. But now, not anymore, man. That's a hard team to play. Notre Dame finally makes their way back onto the top 25 after just throttling Arkansas. They played very good defensively and offensively. They recorded so many yards, so many touchdowns on an Arkansas team that just isn't awful. So they get my 22 spot. Arizona State takes back their spot in the top 25 as well with a win over TCU. They looked shady at times in that game, but they pulled out with the win, and that is always going to be important. I think they are going to be Big 12 contenders this year. Memphis stays in my top 25 with another win over Florida Atlantic, a 29-point. That pretty impressive from this contend for the American right along with the best of them. This 25 spot was very hard for me to decipher who should I put in here. For me, it came between three teams, Virginia, Illinois, and Utah. Virginia with the big win over FSU, I just can't put them in my top 25, knowing that they lost to NC State. That is just not a very good team this year to already have on your loss record. That's just bad. So it's between Illinois and Utah, and I think they are very similar teams at this point in the year. Both just faced a loss to a pretty good opponent last week, and both had the opportunity to bounce back this week, and both did it. But Illinois' opponent in USC, in my opinion, is a much better team than West Virginia. And therefore, I gave Illinois my 25 spot. That is it for my Week 6 rankings. Thank you all for watching. Drop me a comment. Let me know what I did wrong. Let me know what I did right. And I'll see you in the next one.